and welcome to the first episode of 2022. This week we'll be talking about how to get into tattooing, and we'll be getting to know our magic man Nathan a little bit more. So Jan, what advice would you give someone wanting to get into tattooing?
To get into tattooing, there's a few different ways to get into it. What I did, obviously I'm a bit of an hands-on person, so I just went on internet, bought the equipment and started from there. But you can get into it by courses nowadays that are online, which we offer. No, I'm only joking. It's not for an advert, but you can do online courses. You can do your own courses just by looking on YouTube and seeing ways to get into it. But I think with stuff like that, when you're doing online things, you have to be hands-on with it. You know, it's not something you can keep watching and just turn straight to it. You kind of have to have the tattoo machine in your hand to feel what it's like. But obviously, if you've never done one before, you're probably better off doing it on yourself if you're going to do it. But you will probably end up more than likely with a bad tattoo if it's your first one you've done. You can buy pig skin, but you just never get that feeling of an actual tattoo. I don't know if when you got into it, Patrick, did you not find that unless you can draw as much as you want on paper, you can paint as much as you want, you can watch other artists, but
there's no chance that you can compare tattooing to them all day.
Yeah, you don't get that feel of real skin or how the needle's working, how different skin moves, because you can draw on a piece of paper, but the paper don't move. But as soon as you tattoo on someone, the skin's moving. You've got to remember there's curves on the skin, so it's more of an hands-on job really. But it's one of them that's quite a dangerous job to have your first tattoo to do if you get what I mean.
Did you mess up any when you first started?
Oh yeah, I'll admit on camera, I've done tons of bad tattoos. You've all got to start somewhere with tattooing, haven't you, I suppose, you know. You can work it in your favour by doing things that are a bit easier to do. So whether you're going to do a tattoo, you won't do your first one that will really fine, neat lines. You might do something that's a bit more sketchy style or a bit more, is it abstract?
What equipment would you recommend for someone starting out?
I've tried over that many years with tattoo equipment, different the latest machines, the older style machines. I've just bought a new machine 2 or 3 weeks ago it was. So I'm always trying to tweak things slightly to work in your favour, or what you find that works best. There's some tattooists who's had the machines for years and never had, you know, but I always like to keep changing that. It's something that I've always done, to be fair. When they bring the latest thing out, it's like an iPhone. You want to try it, and like now we've just bought all the cordless machines.
Does having a style make you better?
There's a lot of different artists who specialise in different things, so like we said earlier, you can do styles that suit you best and that you know that you're better at. You do get a few of the shops that charge a lot less money, but they probably are happy to do any piece of work just to pay the bills really. You know, you can walk in a shop that might charge £10 an hour or £20, but they will literally do any form of work on you and not really that fussed about how it turns out, just to pay obviously bills that they have. They're not going to turn customers away by saying that they can't do some things, but that's what becomes a better tattoo shop than others, if you're not just going to do the work that people are coming in for if you can't do it.
Has anyone ever done a bad tattoo on you?
No, well I hope not, because it's only our Jordan that's tattooed me. I had one done in Thailand before, I remember that. I was sat on the floor with about 10 Thai people on a carpet at 1 o'clock in the morning. We had a bowl of noodles and I jumped into the swimming pool 20 minutes after. I'm surprised I've still got an arm.
So when I first got into tattooing, it was around 12 or 13 years ago. This is actually what I've got left in my first machine, as you can see it's in bits. I went to get it repaired because I didn't know anything about tattooing at all. I just bought it off one of my friends. It was actually advertised on a hunting site, and he says, oh, maybe tattooing something you could get into. So I paid £100 for this and some equipment, and it broke. You used to have to plug it into the mains. There were no foot switch. There were nothing. You just have to turn it on and off at the switch. And it broke, so I took it to the shop to get fixed. And they said, you're probably better off buying a new machine rather than repair it, because it's only like a £15 machine. But then obviously, as time's gone on now, tattooing's become where, like, there's a couple of machines I've got here. Obviously you get cable and foot switch and a power pack, which I've been using for quite a lot of years. And then recently we've just purchased 2 machines where they're completely wireless. You don't need no foot switch, no clip cord, and not even no power pack. So if you wanted to, you could obviously go out anywhere you want and tattoo. Obviously it's got to be a sterile environment, but you can take them anywhere you like. Even if you wanted to go on holiday and it were raining for the full week, you could take these along with you and tattoo. I'm not recommending that, but I'm just saying that technology now is taking over. I don't know what they're going to be like in 5 years, maybe. I don't know, really. Can you think of anything?
I reckon machines will be doing
Machines? What do you reckon?
flow. Well, we've spoken about before.
Yeah, maybe. I personally think what they will do, somehow they'll, like your old Parker pens that had an ink cartridge that you used to put into the pen, and it'd obviously have the cartridge with ink. There'll be some form of method that you'll fill these up with ink, and then you won't even have to dip them in the inks no more. So, I think there's some way around that. That is going to happen.
Self-feeding. What would you
Like
call it?
Self-feeding tattoo machine. But then obviously it's same with the cartridges and stuff. Now the needles, obviously, it's still a standard needle and people still use them nowadays, but everything's just quick and easy. It's cartridges, so obviously you just pull them off, you pick your size that you want, and then that's all you need to do, really. You know, technology has just taken over everything, and it'll be amazing to see what the future holds, really. Obviously in 5-10 years I might be out of a job. There might be a robot that's doing it, you just never know. And it's just crazy, really. And that's about it.
So my name's Nathan. I am a tattooist at the Skinworks Tattoo Studio. I was actually a receptionist for about 4 years, and then tattooing now about 3. From there, my job role also is a bit of bloody everything. As Jan and George still get me to do everything. Whether it's collect a sandwich, order condoms, everything.
Did you ever see yourself becoming a tattoo artist?
Yeah. So, growing up, obviously, I genuinely had no intention of being a tattooist. I always thought it was a scary, like, prospect. But obviously, meeting the guys, I've always been had like an interest in art and drawing and stuff. But taking that plunge to being a tattooist is something I definitely never thought I'd be able to do. But yeah, here I am now, doing my first ever tattoo.
How did you meet Jan and Jordan?
I met Jan and Jordan, I got into this job. As some of you all know, I'm known as the magic man in the shop. So my job before this, I still am a professional magician. So I did like weddings, events and all that sort of stuff. And I got booked for Sheffield Tattoo Convention. And during that time, also I met Becky, Jan and Jordan, and Becky actually booked me for Jan and Jordan's birthday party. And we got talking, and like, you know, what do you do for a living at the time? I said, well, just this at the minute, but I'm looking for like a little part-time job. And then Jan said, well, we're looking for a receptionist, and I said, I'm your man. And I've never looked back since. Turned up in a Fiat Punto, and I've got a Ford Mondeo with a walnut dash.
What kind of tattoos do you specialise in?
I tend to specialise in, I tend to do a lot of colour work here at Skinworks, especially like the watercolour stuff on females, and then I really enjoy doing like this sketchy, different, it's a bit like a gothic-y, weird looking style, which I do enjoy, but I can do a bit of everything really, apart from Maori, don't like doing that. That's Jan's job.
Where do you see yourself being in 10 years?
To be fair, in 10 years I've probably seen myself pretty much like it is today really, in any sort of reflective surface like mirrors, forward facing cameras, reflections on windows. I'll probably see myself still there in about 10 years. Oh, did you mean actually like career-wise? 10 years from now, would I still want to be tattooing?
Will you still be single?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know, it's weird really, because like you look at, will tattooing still be a thing in 10 years time, especially with our technology is moving on and stuff? I'd like to say it probably will be, but if I can still do it in 10 years then hey-ho, but you never know, I might be doing something else.
Magic or tattoos?
That's a tough question, that. So I love both. I think if I were to pick one, I'd obviously pick tattooing. Just because obviously
That's the right answer from my point.
yeah, I love, as much as I love performing magic, I always said I never wanted it to become like a full-time job. It's just something I like to do in my spare time and enjoy. So I think if you do something too much, you can take that like love away from it, if that makes sense.
Have you ever performed magic to a famous person?
Claims to fame: Paul Gascoigne, Ed Sheeran, Jan Lawrence. I'm trying to think of some more. I've met loads of people.
Hey, if anyone Ed Sheeran, well, Fred Sheeran and his cousin.
Alright, I'm close enough. He still had ginger hair. Ed Sheeran.
What's the daftest tattoo you've got?
My daftest tattoo is my Mr. Bean portrait on my leg. Don't ask me why I got it. I think I did like him growing up as an actor. If I could get another daft one, it'd probably be Rick Mail from Bottom series. If anybody knows who Rick Mail is, he was a fantastic actor. As I went through school, I used to do a lot of acting in school. A lot of characters I used to play were based on Rick Mail.
Where's the weirdest place you've done a tattoo on someone?
Garden shed count, I'm joking. But the weirdest place, a woman once came in for a boyfriend's name and it was right close to her gooch area.
Hey, what about the daftest thing with an ascot? You remember?
Yeah, so and I thought it were a prank at first. So when I went to the receptionist, we actually had a young guy come in and he says, "Have you got time for a tattoo now?" And I says, "Oh, maybe not, but what is it you're wanting?" And he said, "I don't want an emoji, like a text emoji that you send people on phone." He says, "I want the smiley face, like the laughing face." And I says, "Oh, right, where do you want it?" He says, "On my nose." And I thought it meant like a ring stud, like a piercing. He went, "No, just like big fat on my nose." And then I looked and I thought, like, "Is this a joke?" And he was like, "No, I'm deadly serious." And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that."
Hey, what about that guy who came in that time with that bit of paper and he will tell you what it was?
No, that was Jan.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah. What did it say? Spank me or something?
Yeah, he wants to prank me on his ass.
Yeah, if you come in and you're like, "Hey, can we just have a quick chat in the other side with you guys?" And he says, "I want this on my backside." And he offered this bit of paper up and it said, "Spank me" on it.
What do you think's the most common tattoo at the moment?
Tend to get a lot of, I'd say recently, like the Nordic style, like Viking sleeves is quite popular. Along with Greek, that's tend to creep in back in. And obviously clocks and roses are like 90% of his week, I think.
Would you ever give someone a face tattoo?
Face tattoos. Now, obviously, I have done a couple of face tattoos on like people who I know, like close mates and stuff, but they've only been like tiny little things. I won't ever like say, "Oh, yeah," but if like some random who I knew come off at the street and wanted it, I'd just probably say no. Just because it's quite a big thing. Like years ago, it was like, "Oh, it's a big thing to go on your hands," and now it's quite common. And now it's like, "Oh, it's a big thing to go on your face," but as time moves on, it's becoming more and more common, if anything, for face tattoos. But if anybody's thinking about one, seriously don't. They look ridiculous.
What's your favourite style of tattoo to do?
Yeah, I love doing like horror stuff, horror themed sleeves, obviously like anime, polka trash, if anybody knows what polka trash is. I love doing that style. I'd like to do a little bit more of that. Any sort of like comic book sleeve, Star Wars, all geeky stuff. John's probably laughing his head off into the side.
Do you give advice to a client when they're picking their tattoo?
So I think when it comes to tattooing with a customer, I think personally I think you've got to have a nice little niche between each other. Obviously if somebody comes in and says I want this, obviously you can advise certain things and ways of going about it, like position wise, or they might just come with an idea and leave it to you. But then on the other side you have some people that are that adamant on the design that they want, and sometimes it might not work, it might not fit, and it's up to like me as a tattooist to offer a better solution or offer them different choices and just give them that option before they dive straight into it, because you don't want them regretting it later on down the line in the future. But yeah, I think it's good when you can like both work together and offer different things. But I think a lot of people, a lot of new customers and stuff do rely on you as a tattooist to be able to say, yeah, that's a good idea, we'll position this will look good there, that'll look good there. But now and again you do get the odd person that is extremely adamant on what they want, where it's got to be and stuff, whether you think it's right or not, but ultimately at the end of the day it's customer's choice. Even if you've advised, that's the best you can do.
Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to leave any comments below on anything you would like to ask the artists. We'll see you again next week, and in the meantime, please like, share and subscribe.